I'm just gonna say the quiet part out loud. Most men are mind-numbingly boring. Stop wasting your time with them for that one reason. I beg you. Because a lot of women that I see with their husbands, it's like you're gonna spend the rest of your life pretending that that is not the most boring man on earth. To what end? The reason that so many women are like, oh, I miss my friends and like I miss who I was before I had kids or got married or whatever. Your friends were actually interesting people. Your friends were probably women. Your friends, probably some of them didn't get married and they're probably living their best life. Meanwhile, so many people gave up those friendships for a man named Brandon whose biggest hobby is catching fish. And he doesn't even like you to join him on that hobby. A boring man. At the end of the day, he's boring. He comes home, he has nothing to talk about. Nothing happened at work, same as usual. He went out with his friends, doesn't know what they're up to, same as usual. You want him to take you out on a date or something, he's like, for what? We can just eat at home. We can just chill at home. The reason that you're so desperate for y'all's husbands to like recognize you on Valentine's Day or your birthday or Christmas or whatever, because that's the only time that these men even acknowledge y'all as anything more than a fucking house appliance. I repeat, they themselves are boring. They're not fun to talk to. They act like you're the boring one. You're only boring, women. You're only boring because you're being crushed under the weight of the entire load of your entire life, of his entire life, and of your children's entire lives. The only reason that anyone can even call you boring is because you are so busy doing everything under the sun. Meanwhile, your man has no excuse to be boring because he has nothing to do. He has no chores. His chores are take out the garbage and mow the lawn, and he forgets every other week anyway, or makes some excuse not to do it. He has all the time in the world and yet uses it to do absolutely nothing interesting. Men are so boring that their hobbies will be like video games, watching TV, sports, fantasy football. You're watching other people succeed. That's a pastime. That's not a hobby. TV, video games, all those things are a pastime. They're things that waste your time, shorten your attention span, and take you out of reality, frankly. That is boring. That means your brain is not used to living or functioning in the fucking present, like where we all live. You're boring. And if I'm being even further honest with you, most men know this. They know that they're boring. That's why they like pretend like they don't want to talk to you. They're like, well, what would we even talk about? Yeah, exactly. Because when they can't sit there and parrot somebody's opinion that has said it already, they have trouble finding an opinion. They have trouble finding their own critical thinking because they are too busy parroting what other people are saying. So talking to them is like listening to somebody else's talking points, probably a man's. And it gets frustrating because as soon as you start making sense and the things that come out of your mouth make more sense than the things that come out of his mouth, they often get mad and they'll be like, this is why I don't talk to you. Men are so boring that at their grown age of like 40, 50, 60 years old, they will spend time looking for the youngest possible woman because they feel like they're on a relatable level with this young woman. That's how boring most men are, that they haven't aged mentally since age 18 or 20. That's the women that they look for so that those women don't present the same challenges that women who are growing older often present to these men. They start challenging their worldviews, and these men don't like that. And they want to find someone that is easily malleable, easily controllable, and somebody that they sound smarter than because they're boring, because that's what life is about for them. And you're wasting your time giving these men children, furthering these men's careers, extending their lifespans, all for what? For a man that can't even sit down and talk to you. For a man that when he joins the family for like a board game night or somebody hears dad laugh or something, it's like some big event. Your children don't know the sound of your husband's laughter, the sound of your husband's voice. This is crazy to me because it's clear as day to me. My dad is one of the least boring people I've ever met. You can sit there and talk with my dad for hours about anything, anything. He has a wealth of knowledge. And if he doesn't, he'll ask you questions about it, or he'll want to learn about it. I know what makes him laugh. I know his opinions on things. I know the things that he cares about. Most people couldn't say that about their dad. You know why? Because most men don't open up like that because there's nothing there. The reason that most men find it and consider it such a big deal to open up to you about their cat that they had when they're 8 years old is because it's the only thing that's in there. That's the last thing that made them feel something, because they're otherwise boring. They don't allow themselves the joy of expression. They don't allow themselves the joy of being different. They don't allow themselves the joy of critical thinking, the benefits of critical thinking. They would rather just do the easy thing every single time. And it's easy to be boring. And it's easy to pretend like you have this like mysterious aura around you when you're really just boring. You're boring. Even if you wanted to have something to say, you wouldn't. Even if you wanted to be interesting, you couldn't be. Prove me wrong. A lot of women are simply married to just one of hundreds of millions of extremely boring, nondescript men that act the same as the other boring, nondescript men. Same style, the same values, the same sayings. That's what it is. That's who you're spending your entire life benefiting. You are way more interesting than that as a woman, okay? Please invest in yourself. Stop investing in these men, because at the end of the day, there is no reward there for you. They won't treat you right. They're not going to stand up for you. They're not protectors. They're not providers. They're just boring and they fooled you. Stay safe out there. Godspeed.